New York Attorney General Letitia James said Governor Cuomo broke federal and state laws. Big statement, but he's not been charged with any crimes. Will he be? Let's bring in Robert Schalk, former Nassau County Assistant Attorney, now an attorney in New York as well. Robert, appreciate you being with us. You read through this 160-plus pages. If true, creepy, unprofessional, and if it happened to my sister, I'd be mad as hell. But is any of the behavior that's described on its face criminal?
Thanks for having me, Leland. Yes, it is, potentially. There are allegations spelled out in Ms. James's report of touching the intimate parts of women, unprovoked, unwanted touching of the breast and the buttocks area. That, in the state of New York, could rise to the level of misdemeanor forcible touching, misdemeanor sexual abuse, which could be prosecuted. The only issue that you would have, which wasn't spelled out that I could see inside of the report, is the statute of limitations for misdemeanors in New York is only 2 years. If these raise to the level of felony offenses, the statute of limitations would be longer and it'd be 5 years. But now you have on record witnesses. You have corroborating evidence, because remember, these aren't just statements from lawyers. These are interviews with potential victims. There was corroboration presented, whether it be text messages, emails, flight manifests, other people around who could corroborate the victim's statements. And then you have the governor, in part, making admissions in prior press conferences and admissions in the interview with Ms. James's team, although not to the forcible touching components, which gives credence and credibility to the allegations that I just don't think he can get out from underneath, whether it be on the criminal side and or the resignation impeachment side, as was outlined by your prior guests.
Interestingly enough, he offered a defense of sorts. He said, I'm looking forward to a judge and jury to try this case, which, if we listen to your analysis, might actually happen, because the Albany DA is now saying that he wants copies of the report to go through this. One of the things in his press conference today, it's not really a press conference, a statement that he made, is he played a video of him kissing and touching a number of other people and saying, well, I do this to everyone, it doesn't matter. If you were his defense attorney, would you have advised him to say that?
Listen, that's theatrics. That's for TV. Okay. That's for people who are not going to read the 168 pages that you and I read and that many other attorneys and government officials have read. That's theatrics. No, okay, yes, everyone hugs and kisses. Everyone shakes hands. There is that type of component where he said it was cultural. But at the end of the day, if you read the report, this is unwanted sexual touching. He didn't put any photos or videos of him doing that to other individuals. So again, it's all theatrics. It's good gameplay by his attorneys. They released their own report on his website. So at the end of the day, his lawyers are obviously pushing back. That's what they're hired to do. They're former federal prosecutors. They know how to play the game. But again, as your prior guest stated, losing the support of Chuck Schumer and Kirsten Gillibrand and the President of the United States and the caucuses that support him here in New York, again, the walls are closing in around the governor on every front possible. That be the criminal front, the civil front, the political front.
I mentioned Eric Greitens in Missouri, who was forced to resign because of a number of scandals. One of them involved taking unwanted nude photos of a woman. But it was thought that when he resigned, it was agreed upon, if you will, that there would be no criminal prosecution. You can head off into the sunset, as it were. He's now back, but that was the agreement when he resigned. Is there a mechanism in New York law for Cuomo to make such a deal?
It would be a backroom, agreed upon deal with Ms. James and the Albany District Attorney. But remember, I mean, the Albany District Attorney, within minutes of the press conference, put out a tweet that any victim that wishes to come to their office with an allegation and asking the Attorney General for their documents and their corroborating evidence, once that information is in the hands of a prosecuting agency and they believe a crime was committed in their jurisdiction, can move forward with a prosecution that they believe that a crime reasonably caused was committed and they have probable cause to arrest and prosecute.
Real quick, Letitia James is without question a political actor. She is the Attorney General. One might say she would have eyes perhaps on a job promotion to governor at some point in the not so distant future. Can Cuomo's attorneys attack this report on the basis that it's politically motivated rather than the work of independent lawyers that she liked to talk about?
Yes, and I expect that they will, but they better be very careful, because at that point you're now saying that this was a political hit job and you can't believe these victims. And is he going to sit there and say, everyone's lying when he's already made admissions that some of it's true? So you better be very careful how you're going to phrase that type of argument in that presentation, both to the general public or in a court of law.
Yeah. Incredible analysis. If it gets to a court of law, we're going to have a lot to talk about, Robert. Thank you.